Life is not a storybook, and not every story has a happy ending. Our story begins on summer vacation in Nantucket, August 16, 2008. I'm Bridget Rudner, and this is my family story.
I had just arrived on the island that morning to begin my vacation with the family. Our daughter, Susanna, our son, Quinn, and my wife, Bridget, had been there for a week already. I met them at the ferry. After lunch, we drove to Cisco Beach, where we set up beach chairs next to friends. As soon as we got to the beach, Susanna wanted to show me how she had improved on the surfboard. I walked down to the water's edge to watch her. So I saw it happen. I saw her wipe out. I saw her struggling to stand up in the shallows about 30 yards off the beach. Then it sunk in that she was wrenching the surfboard and its fin from her thigh. She screamed to me. She couldn't feel her leg.
I heard Susanna screaming. I looked over and she was surrounded by blood.
The blood formed a red circle in the water all around her. She yelled as I rushed into the water that her leg was cut off. I rushed in and got her and carried her out of the water to the beach. There were no lifeguards covering that section since surfers don't surf where the swimmers are. Blood was shooting straight out of her wound. I couldn't apply pressure and carry her at the same time. The blood made her slippery, and the 30 yards fighting to the surf to get to the beach seemed to take forever. I finally reached dry sand and collapsed with her.
A woman came running over and told us that she was a doctor. Another woman said she was an emergency room nurse. They were giving the lifeguards directions on how to stop the bleeding and keep her warm. One look at the wound, and I knew it was not good.
The whole scene looked like a shark attack. And at first, the lifeguards wanted to know whether to clear the water. I told them no, it was the fin of her board. Susanna was conscious, but getting weak. The doctor focused on keeping her from going into shock. The lifeguards took shifts applying pressure, their muscles twitching from the strain and exhaustion of the effort. My wife, Bridget, and Susanna's brother, Quinn, were very upset. The nurse told Quinn to say goodbye to his sister. I'll never forget it. He said, "I've always loved you, and I always will."
It felt like forever until the ambulance came. The doctor said that the wound was so severe that he wanted her transferred to MassGeneral. He explained that he had requested a helicopter to come pick her up, but they were having problems because there was a thunderstorm in Boston and the helicopter could not get to the island.
The doctor kept her perfectly still. He measured the blood flow to her foot and seemed really surprised and happy to find some. We were told to expect an amputation, that she needed a lot of blood, and that I could help by keeping her conscious. Meanwhile, the weather was bad along the flight path. We had to wait and hope it cleared. I held her hand, sang to her, helped her visualize calm places. I tried to make her laugh. We looked at taking her on the high-speed ferry, but it turned out that was too slow. Finally, we got word that the chopper could get through and was on its way. They asked my weight. They told me I was too heavy to join Susanna on the flight.
They also wanted to make sure that the person traveling with her did not have a fear of flying. I usually do, but in this moment, I absolutely did not.
The chopper personnel moved with military bearing, authority, and precision. It was a dark and starry sky as I waved to them as they took off. Then I ran for the next high-speed ferry, got in my car in Hyannis, and drove to Boston. I have no idea at what speed.
The crew who fly these helicopters are very impressive. They communicated every detail to me, which really helped ease my anxiety. When we arrived, we went right to the emergency. The doctors realized that the artery had not only been severed, but was in pieces. At this point, they said she was going to surgery. We went down to a room where a family waits while the patient is in surgery. A resident came down to talk to us after 3 hours of surgery and explained it was very serious, and not only had the artery been severed, but the vein and nerve. He said that they had a wonderful vascular surgeon, Dr. Watkins, working on her, and that he would do all he could to save her leg. They didn't know the extent of the nerve damage, but even if they could save her leg, there was a chance that she would not be able to walk. The surgery went on for 3 more hours. I walked the empty halls of the hospital in tears the whole time. She was in surgery from 2 in the morning until 9 in the morning.
Every single Mass General doctor, nurse, or orderly was incredibly professional, supremely intelligent, confident, competent, and at the top of their game. I have never seen any organization where excellence was so universal a characteristic. I remember being asked just before Susanna went in if I had any thoughts to share with the doctors. I said, "She's a remarkable dancer." That was one of the first things the doctor said once the surgery was over, that she would dance again. Powerful stuff. We were invited to listen in on the teaching rounds discussions of Susanna.
This was a huge help for us. We felt so informed at all times. Her nurses were wonderful. We could never thank them enough. The next few days were still touch and go. She was in a lot of pain, but could not stomach the meds. The hospital had a pain specialist come and try and figure out how to get the pain under control without upsetting her stomach.
We just felt that Susanna had the A-team behind her, the best and the brightest. Our family has experienced all levels of care, but this experience was truly extraordinary.
She was moved out of PICU on Tuesday evening. The next day, to try and get her to walk, we told her if she could make it to the activity room, where the computers are, she could read her Facebook messages. When she couldn't make it, her roommate's mom lent her laptop to Susanna. The resident was also wonderful. Susanna was always full of questions, and he would always take time to answer each and every one. And we can never thank Dr. Lawler enough. The care that Susanna received at Mass General from beginning to end was unsurpassed. Unsurpassed.
Not every story has a happy ending, but this one does. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Susanna Rudner.